In Japan, a lunchbox can cost more than a fancy dinner, come with a pull string that heats it up all by itself, and have thousands of screaming fans. This is not a sad desk lunch. This is a national obsession. Meet the bento. On the surface, it looks simple. A little box, some rice, a few side dishes. But behind that tidy lid hides centuries of history, astonishing tiny artistry, and a level of care that will genuinely melt your heart. The idea is ancient. Over 1,000 years ago, people in Japan were already packing dried rice into small pouches to carry into fields and onto journeys. The very word bento comes from an old phrase meaning, roughly, convenient. And convenient it was. By the Edo period, bento had gone glamorous. Theater-goers needed something elegant to nibble during the intermission when the curtain fell. So a special boxed meal was born, eaten between the acts, and it is still called the makinuchi, the between-the-curtains bento, today. Then came the trains, and everything exploded. In the 1880s, a station reportedly began selling rice balls wrapped in bamboo leaf to hungry travelers. This was the birth of the ekobun, the station bento, and Japan would never eat on the go the same way again. Today there are more than 2,000 kinds of ekobun across the country. Every region, every station, competes to sell the most delicious, most beautiful, most unforgettable box. Traveling through Japan becomes a treasure hunt where the treasure is lunch. Want grilled eel from one town, marbled beef from another, snow crab, sea urchin, wild mountain vegetables? There is an ekobun for that. Locals plan entire trips around which station sells which legendary box. But here is the part that sounds made up. Some ekobun heat themselves. You pull a little string tucked under the box, and inside, a hidden chemical reaction begins to warm your meal right there on your lap. No microwave, no plug, just a string and a puff of steam. Then there are the boxes shaped like art. One famous ekobun comes packed inside a bright red Daruma doll, the round wish-granting figure. People finish the meal and keep the container as a souvenir, or a piggy bank, or a good luck charm. Others are shaped like bullet trains, like castles, like little ceramic pots you can take home. The packaging is half the joy. Some collectors keep the empty boxes for decades, a shelf full of edible memories. And the love runs so deep that department stores hold ekobun festivals, giant events where the most famous station lunchboxes from all over Japan are gathered in one place. Crowds line up for hours to buy a box from a town they may never visit. Now let us go home, because this is where bento becomes pure magic. Meet the Shirobun, the character bento, where an ordinary lunch is transformed into a tiny edible masterpiece. Rice becomes a sleeping panda. Seaweed becomes a smiling cat's whiskers. Sausages are trimmed into little octopuses. Cheese and egg are cut into flowers, stars, and cartoon faces. It is a full meal that also happens to be a sculpture. And who makes these? Often parents, waking up before sunrise, arranging rice grain by grain, so their child opens a lunchbox at school and gasps with delight. It is love, packed into a box the size of your hand. Quick pause, because if these little boxes of joy are making you smile, hit subscribe. We post delightful, jaw-dropping stories about Japan every single day, and you will not want to miss what is coming next. Shirobun got so competitive that some schools actually had to step in. When every child's lunch became a dazzling artwork, kids without a crafty parent felt left out. So a few schools quietly asked families to keep it simple, for fairness. But even a plain bento follows secret rules. There is an ideal balance, sometimes described as filling the box with a certain amount of rice, some protein, and plenty of vegetables, all arranged by color so the meal looks as good as it tastes. And it must be packed tight. A proper bento has no gaps, no sliding, no soggy mess by lunchtime. Every piece has its place, wedged in so snugly that you can carry it in a bag, on a bike, on a train, and open it looking perfect. See that little green plastic grass separating the foods? That is called baron, and it started as a real leaf used to keep flavors from mixing. Today it is a tiny beloved icon of bento culture all its own. Bento are everywhere in Japan. Convenience stores sell them. Specialty shops sell them. There are entire restaurants devoted to nothing but boxed meals, and workers grab a fresh one on the way to the office without a second thought. Many people carry their bento wrapped in a beautiful cloth called a furoshiki, tied into a neat little bundle. Even the way you transport your lunch becomes a small, graceful ritual. At the high end, bento become genuine luxury. Fancy lacquered boxes filled with seasonal delicacies can cost a small fortune, ordered for special occasions, celebrations, and the new year, when families eat from stacked tiers of exquisite food. And in spring, under the cherry blossoms, the bento comes into its own. Families spread out blankets, unpack their carefully made boxes, and eat surrounded by falling pink petals. The humble lunchbox becomes the star of the party. Japan even sent bento to space. Special versions were designed for astronauts, because apparently a Japanese meal should be a proper meal no matter where in the universe you happen to be eating it. There is a lovely unspoken rule too. When you finish, you leave the box clean and often say a quiet thanks. Nothing wasted, nothing left behind. Gratitude for every grain of rice. What amazes me most is how ordinary all of this feels in Japan. To them, it is just lunch. Just something a grandmother, a father, a shopkeeper makes with a little extra care, the way they always have. But think about what that little box really carries. History from 1,000 years ago. The rush of a train platform. The patience of a parent at dawn. All folded into a meal you can hold in your palms. So the next time you toss a sandwich in a bag, picture a Japanese traveler on a train, opening a warm, hand-shaped, perfectly packed box, and smiling like it is the best part of the whole journey. Because in Japan, a lunchbox is never just a lunchbox. It is art, it is love, and it is one of the most delightful little traditions on earth. Which of these boxes would you want to open? Tell us in the comments. Subscribe for more wonderful Japan, and we will see you in the next one.